Anti-life is found, Darkseid, and we will stop at nothing to possess it.
Found? My lord, you already found it on Earth like 5,000 years ago when you got your ass beat by the old gods and just never went back, remember? You could have retrieved it at any point when there wasn't a Kryptonian or Justice League to stop. What's going on, guys? It's Ross here at MGF Customs, finally back for another LEGO half-custom minifigure showcase because I have been working on a custom Darkseid BigFig over this past week now. However, this is not a full-on custom. This is what I call a half-custom. Last year, I kind of started doing this with Bastille LaShawn from Knights of the Old Republic, and now, following the release of Zack Snyder's Justice League on HBO Max, I quickly noticed that the comic book Darkseid just wasn't gonna do it for my displays right in front of my desk, and I would need to do some kind of a quick repaint to have some kind of a decent looking Darkseid to pair with my new Justice League minifigures. And so I got a knockoff Darkseid BigFig and spent the past week on and off repainting it to at least somewhat correspond with how he looked in the DCEU. And now I have this BigFig, which is an odd mix of something that I am somewhat proud of, but it really is just a display piece at the end of the day and is in no way indicative of how I would make an actual Darkseid custom. But I'll get into all of that in just a moment. I appreciate you guys being here, and so ready the Armada because it's time to get started. Alright, here is the makeshift half-custom of the Great One, the apocalyptian villain of the DCEU, who of course, unfortunately, we'll never get to see fully realized in his own two movies. But I know a lot of you will be asking, what makes this a half-custom exactly? What makes this makeshift? This looks like a full-blown custom of Darkseid to me, and it's really not. This is not indicative of how I would do the real thing at all for a variety of reasons. And also, I love to work in Photoshop with my customs, and I always post those edits over on Instagram and Twitter and all those places, and I know that if we're never going to get the rest of the Justice League saga, then at least I want to do some edits and kind of create those scenes myself with my own minifigures to at least do something to realize those major sequences from what those films were going to be. And so I wanted to do this. I wanted to do a quick repaint of a Darkseid knockoff BigFig. So the official one costs like $30 and I wasn't going to pay that, and the knockoff one worked absolutely perfect for this simplistic project here. And so basically, once I had applied some base layers, some base black layers onto the entire figure, I kind of just painted a lot of the base colors on there, right? That was a big part, is just painting on all of the base dark metallic blue mixed colors that I did here as I went along. But some really big parts to highlight, of course, are the little bits on the sides of his helmet or his head that I used here that I actually sculpted on. Those are the only little sculpted bits, and those are literally just a couple little round circles. And I did repaint pretty much everything on the face. I mean, this entire BigFig is just one giant simplistic repaint, and it's very under detailed too. Like, you'll see a lot of these marks and everything here that I painted onto the arms. It was definitely kind of a slow, repetitive, almost painstaking process to go through and kind of paint on all these curved little marks, and a lot of them are very boxy too, because in many ways Darkseid's skin is like very rocky in a lot of ways. And to be completely honest, if I did a real custom, I would not just paint on all these random little marks to convey the look. I would actually go through and individually paint on all of the scales to the best of my ability and not just do all of this randomness. But it works for this simple repaint. And then what I would do once I had all of these little markings actually applied to each area of the exposed skin, I then with my paintbrush just kind of went in with some watery dark gray paint and just kind of washed that all over, so I wasn't getting that kind of really awful matte bright light gray color that would have, you know, pretty much represented the skin. I wanted to at least add some depth to the parts of the BigFig that has the exposed skin. And so then also I did paint some simplistic detail onto the front of the torso. I was honestly going to half-ass this so much that I wasn't even going to do this until I realized there's just really no way around at least applying some level of simple detail here. So I did did paint on the Omega symbol a little bit and some of these panels here, and then it kind of continues down to the bottom a little bit, but then it just cuts off. And honestly, even after this video, I might put a few lines like here, and maybe on some of these other like armor flaps that I just painted on. All of this would have been sculpted. I mean, again, this is just a piece for my own display, for my own collection. And now though, this is really it. It was just a ton of metallic blue paint, a ton of light gray paint, and really doing my best to distribute all of that paint equally and evenly throughout the multi-day process of putting this all together and painting all of this on. Honestly, even a lot of the paintwork I did do here is also really uneven too in a lot of different spots, and this is not really even that accurate. And so all of this is really to say that this is just, you know, something fun. This is a half custom. But one way I could definitely see myself doing a Darkseid this year is like maybe if someone in the community winds up doing a 3D printed version of the entire BigFig and just kind of saves all that sculpting work, then it would definitely be very possible, of course, to see a full-blown custom Darkseid from me this year. But otherwise, if I have to do all the sculpting work myself, to do all of that apocalyptic armor and everything with his face structure, and I mean, it would just take me an insane amount of time. This is also why I did not do Steppenwolf and why I won't be doing Steppenwolf, because it's just too much work, and tackling such highly complex figures like Darkseid or Steppenwolf would ask that I forfeit the Mandalorian Season 2 showcase, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, you know, finally finishing my Avengers Endgame side project and all of that stuff. And that's why I decided to do this simple repaint, this makeshift half custom of Ray Porter's Darkseid. And for the brief glimpses we were able to get of his Darkseid in the DCEU, it was absolutely amazing, and at least did scratch that itch that I know I had since 2014 when it was promised us that we would eventually see Darkseid enter the DCEU to, of course, eventually seize the anti-life equation and take control of the Earth. But let me know what you think of this down in the comments. I would really love to hear your thoughts, because in some ways this did feel like a return to the old ways, as this is kind of like what LEGO's DCEU Darkseid could have looked like, right, to some extent. And this is also kind of like how I might have done this BigFig many years ago. So I don't know, it's interesting making these half customs because they're fun little projects, they're fun little experiments, and I always love to hear what you guys think of them once they are complete. So with all of that said, let's go ahead and finally begin to wrap up this video. All right, everybody, there you go. That's gonna do it for this, I guess, showcase, yeah, on my half custom of Darkseid. It's kind of weird to even call videos like these showcases, since this is not a full-on custom and none of the half customs really are. But regardless, I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for sticking around for the entire thing, and just for being here in general, as I know I just kind of disappear for upwards of 1 to sometimes more recently 3 weeks at a time. Honestly, I don't know what happened to the last 2 weeks I wasn't making videos there, but anyway, this was really fun to make, and let me know if you guys want to see more half customs like this in the future whenever the opportunity presents itself, like it did here. And now I'm finally moving on to finishing the project that I began last winter for the Mandalorian Season 2. So of course, Ahsoka Tano, Bo-Katan, Boba Fett, and Luke Skywalker are all going to be showcased shortly here on the channel, hopefully on Star Wars Day if I can somehow manage it, but I'm not quite sure. And if you want to follow along with all the progress as I make it, of course, just like Darkseid here, and every custom figure for the Justice League showcase and before was and always is continuing to be posted over on my Patreon. So if you'd like to consider supporting the channel that way, you can join my little community of customizers over there, and it's a good time. Otherwise, of course, you can still follow along over on my Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook for different edits like my Justice League ones that I've been putting out, like the main banner edit recreating the first official photo of the League from San Diego Comic-Con 2016 that you saw earlier on in the video, or like the Flash from the end of the movie, and really fun stuff like that, and teasers for upcoming minifigures still do go up there, of course. And also, I've been doing weekly vlogs over on my second channel, MGF Extras, since like August, and there actually is a big behind the scenes vlog of shooting the Snyder Cut showcase and like kind of the final couple weeks leading up to that, and it was a really good time. And so that's up there, along with my Falcon and the Winter Soldier reactions. Of course, the penultimate episode reaction will be up very shortly as that streams on Disney Plus, and then obviously next week the season finale for that. And I mention all of this because I am always active somewhere doing something when I'm not making videos here on the main channel. So I will see you guys next time. Stay safe out there, keep creating, and take care.
fusion has taken root.
The bell's already been rung, and they've heard it. But in the dark,